Okay, well, we are now starting our 5th session of this game. Does anyone want to do the recap? Your stunned silence is very reassuring. Yes, one of you guys. Okay. I mean, the point of the recap is to see how well you're remembering what's going on. But, yeah. Okay. So we could take turns then. How about that? Okay. Yeah, so last week. We played last week during the weekend. Sunday, yeah. No, that was the time after Rebecca stepped on the glass. Okay. So time before last was when you guys killed the centipede, right? Last time, which was last week, you guys got your rewards from the centipede. We went ahead and retconned a little bit, and you guys. Yep. Yep. Your echo is back again, Rebecca. Ah. Okay. Just as long as you knew. So then last week, you guys got your rewards from the River Dragon, and you headed out to see an old man, and his name was. Mm-hmm. So that was Crazy Kookaroo. Yep, that was Crazy. So that was Crazy Kookaroo, who is an old hermit slash monk who lived up in the mountains and knew a lot about dragons. And Kawa snuck up, but of course he noticed that she was there. Well, he didn't notice she was there. He knew she was there because the future. He already had seen it. Yep. And she asked him about the dragons that you guys needed to find, and he was able to provide some pretty useful information. So can you guys remember what he said about the dragons? Because if you need to, I can give you a quick reminder. Mm-hmm. Okay. That's right. Well, some of the mountains, not all of them. But yeah. Okay, so that's a good. You took notes. That's right. Well, he did say. Yeah, we'll stick with effing when possible. Or you can use a fake word and just say, sit under that pronking waterfall. Uh-huh. And we... Well, not that we're monetizing this anyway, so it really doesn't matter. But, you know, might as well keep it clean-ish. You guys got to have fun with some fish, so, you know, meet somewhere in the middle. All right, so then you guys decided that you were going to travel to the head of the mountains to find the mountain dragon and blow the horn to get his attention. And on your way there, what was that? Okay, what happened? That's right. And you saved the turtle and did it in such a way that the children learned absolutely nothing. But, you know, sometimes that's just the way it goes. Man, you know, art imitating life. And so after that, you made your way and you entered a large, long valley that was slowly narrowing as you went through it. And you are now almost through the valley, but you saw in front of you a huge stone and metal fence. And you guys just kind of came up to the fence that opened, or the gate that opened in the fence. And there's a very large ogre in the way. That guy. Nobody remembers. So, yeah, we'll go ahead and pick up. You guys will say that you're not like, I mean, the map ends. There's no more space for me to move you, but I'm going to say that you're far enough away that you're not just like, hey there, we're being completely obvious about everything. And I'll let you guys decide how you want to approach it. So you can see this fence a ways off, and you can see kind of behind it this giant ogre. Mm-hmm. Yes, the ninja in your group is the sneaky one. Shocker. Nah. Okay, well, you guys are going to need to make a decision here. Otherwise, he is going to spot you so that we can move forward. Okay, go ahead. You're just running toward him? Okay. Okay. So your weapon is... You don't have a... What stick? You have a wakizashi. It's called... It's a wakizashi. You named... No, you named your wakizashi walking stick because irony. Okay. So you're going to run up and you're starting combat. All right, so as you approach the gate, he sees you and lets out a war cry, and everybody can roll for initiative now. Okay, Hannah got a 21. That's not bad. Who died? Dun dun dun. Okay, so far it looks like Wayne is definitely going last. Okay. So then we have Anna. Then we have our ogre here. followed by Rebecca, or I guess I should be using names. First we have Kuryokuma, then we have the ogre, then we have Kawa, then we have a Kaihebi. All right then, Kuryokuma, you may take your turn. However, I'm going to put you outside of his area of reach. If you want to approach him, you are going to take an attack of opportunity. Yes, you can. It is made for that. It should have ranged statistics. And it also, I believe it has called, so I'm pretty sure you can call it back when you need to, but you should check just in case. It's usually listed where it says this melee, this ranged. Go over to the weapon tab. Okay. Okay, well, you may not actually have anything that makes it particularly good at throwing. Click the little gear icon to see what magics it has on it. Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, so it does have called. So I guess go ahead and just do a normal. No, because it has a bonus. What is its plus? Is it a +1, +2, +3? Okay, so you're going to be rolling 1d20 +3 plus base attack bonus plus your strength, because this is it's not like a bow or a gun. It's, you know, a thrown weapon. (1d20) 1d20 +3 plus your strength plus your base attack bonus. And that +3 is because your weapon has a +3 enchantment. Base attack bonus. For attack, the damage is going to be the same as whatever is already listed there, including the strength bonus. So yeah, it's going to be exactly the same. Okay. Next time, Anna, if it's going to take this long, go ahead and hold your turn and just let someone else go. Yep. All right, so a 40 to hit, that is in fact a hit, and you are going to be doing 24 damage. Okay, so he is hit and he is damaged. That is your turn. All right, so you throw your naginata, and it kind of hits him squarely in the chest, and it does dig in, but it seems that it really doesn't get that much past his hide. He did take damage, so I'm not saying that it's completely negated. I'm just saying that he's not taking a lot of damage. And he's going to walk up to you. He'll just take one big step and kind of like pull the thing out of his chest and throw it down on the ground and say, "I believe this was yours." And then he lifts up an enormous spiked club. Yes, this is. And he is going to hit you. Okay. Oh, stop rolling in there. I don't know why. It keeps trying to make me write into the macro field, or a search field, instead of where I want it to. All right. Is a 48 going to hit you? Okay. Okay. Is a 40 going to hit you? Okay, so he's going to start with that. He has 2 more attacks, but he's going to hold off and see what this does. By the way, I did not change this guy at all based on like you running forward crazily. This guy was already determined and set before any of this happened. All right, so his first hit is going to do 35 points of damage. It's bashing, and his second is going to do 44. So yes, that is 79 total points of damage. How are you doing? Okay. Okay. Then he's going to... Is a 30 going to hit you? Okay, you're going to take another 35 hit points. How are you doing now? Okay, so now that was non-lethal and bludgeoning. So you are unconscious and you have 9 points of lethal. So if you haven't been entering that as... So if you've been entering that as lethal damage, you need to go ahead and fix that. It should be all of that was non-lethal, and only the negative hit points, the 9, are going to actually be lethal damage. But you are unconscious on the ground. So he throws the spear down at your feet and yells, "Was this yours?" And then he pulls out this huge spiked club and just slams it down. I mean, this club is almost as big as you are. Onto your face 3 times, just bam, bam, bam. And you're wearing your boots, I'm assuming? So you're not knocked down. You are like buried to your waist in the ground and then just like lolling over sideways unconscious, blood trickling from your ears and nose. And that's his turn. All right, Kawa, it is your turn. Yeah, go ahead, and the fence is really not that high. What is your climb bonus? All right, yeah, you will have no trouble whatsoever, so you're able to easily get over that fence. Let me go ahead and move you, since that's actually a border, so you can't get through it. There you go. All right, you're over the fence, and that was, let's say, 15 feet of your movement. Why does Wayne keep rolling stuff? Okay, so you used 15 feet of your movement to get over the fence, Rebecca. Well, standard is 30, so you've probably got another 15 feet. Okay, and go ahead and roll me a stealth check to see whether he notices you or not. Well, I said to set them up last time, so... not... yeah. Anyway. Yeah, he has a bonus to his perception of 29, so a roll of 25 is not going to cut it. So he definitely sees you out of the corner of his eye. You can do anything else if you want to. You do have ranged weapons, Rebecca. You want to do something with those. You do have ranged weapons. I believe I gave you throwing stars or something of that kind. So if you want to do something from a distance, you can. Shuriken is a throwing star. Yes, if it has 2 numbers listed, then you can shoot it twice. Yeah, just if you enter multiple dice rolls in the same macro, then it'll show up. But you can't like roll them in the same. Yeah. Yeah, go ahead and do that. So your first one was a miss. Yeah, so you did confirm that critical failure. So let's go ahead. It's possible. Okay, so let's see what happens. So your critical failure is called second chances. Your weapon has multi-fired. Lose 2 more arrows. So reduce your arrows by 2 and immediately make a second attack roll with all previous modifiers, including an additional -4. So go ahead and attack. Go and attack with a -4, but you're going to lose extra arrows. So the critical fail means you basically were grabbing for arrows to try and load them in the crossbow, and you just fumbled the arrows and dropped several out of your quiver. but you did get 1 in, so you can go ahead and try one more attack. Yeah, so you still missed. All right. Akaihebi, you just saw several arrows just like slightly embed themselves in this ogre, but they don't seem to have done any damage whatsoever. Kuryokuma is buried to his waist from having been pounded violently by this ogre. There should be crossbow bolts in there. Or did I forget to give her crossbow bolts? Okay, go ahead and just give her 50 and we'll say she's lost any others that she used to have. All right. So, Akaihebi, what are you going to do? Go ahead and roll it now. And then you can kind of see how well you did, and that can help you decide what you say, whether you just say something incredibly embarrassing like, "Did you used to be a dragon?" That's not bad. All right, go ahead. You should be happy that you have a really high bonus there, because I made you the diplomat. Okay. No. If you move any much closer, you will be though. Oh, don't worry, I'm not going to kill any of you, but if you want to get past, you're going to need to best me. He said that he had no intention of killing any of you, but that if you wanted past, you were going to have to best him. Do you say that? Okay. No, I was never really the riddle sort, you know. Some contest of strength. You must prove you're worthy before I'll let you through my valley. Does Kawa try to whisper that across the however far that is? It's gotta be like 50 feet. 40 feet, yeah. Are you gonna try and whisper that across 40 feet? Are you gonna move from where you are, or are you gonna stick over there? Okay. He's on the other side of the fence. He can see her. Okay. So he says that you're going to have to best him, and it's not... we could always continue combat here. It's been entertaining for me, at least. So he kind of So he kind of like pokes at Kuryo Kuma with his foot, and kind of is like, I won't kill you immediately anyway. Ogres got to eat, you know. Sure, whatever you need. So he grabs Kuryokuma, uproots him out of the ground, and goes back further in, and starts shoving him in this cage over here. Okay. The ogre's over here kind of like locking up the cage and making sure it's secure, while Kuryokuma's unconscious corpse is just lying there. So the ogre in the background starts singing "Firi Fi Fo Fam." That they're big, that they're mean, that they eat people, and that they like to set themselves up. This is like, it's not a bridge troll, but only because he's not under a bridge. But these sorts of ogres like to set themselves up in areas where people have no choice but to go through a certain area, and then make that extremely unpleasant for everybody involved. So he starts kind of like pouring water on Kuryokuma, so you kind of wake up spluttering, Anna. No, you're still at. Go ahead and. I don't think you need to change anything. You're just conscious now, so you still have full non-lethal damage and 7 points of lethal damage, or whatever I said before, 9. I forget. However much it went over. Okay. Yeah. So you. Why ever not? You look like a delicious little morsel to me. Ah, don't worry. A few hours on a spit over the fire with some nice grease brushed on you, and you'll be plenty tender. Ah, I can fix that. A pot of hot water. Pot of hot water, and you'd clean right off. Besides, I'd probably skin you first anyway. You're talking to an ogre and you're going to say that your food is too gross for me to eat you. As big as my arm. Ah, I'll eat your animals too. Are they? Ah, you know what they say about a bird in the bush. So, Kuro. So, Kuro, what do you like to do in your free time? Ooh, wrestling. I love wrestling. Look over there behind me. What's that giant circle for, do you think? Oi! Would you like to wrestle me for your freedom and the passage of your friends? Sure. How about you all join me for some soup? We can wrestle. We can wrestle as the sun sets. Make it real dramatic, like. Oh, you guys want to join us for dinner? Well, that remains to be seen, but it'll be determined by your friend here. He's agreed to wrestle me on the as the sun sets this evening. So he's gonna come over and he unlocks the cage, Kuro, so you're free. Sure, why not? You can all wrestle me. We'll start with the skinny waif over there, then you, and then your big friend over here. If any of you can even so much as hold your own against me in the ring, I'll allow you to pass. I don't think Charles likes this plan. So he goes ahead and he puts a large pot of food on the campfire. It doesn't seem to be human flesh, probably. So he's so he's definitely going to eat. It's up to you guys if you want to eat as well. Okay. So you eat his food. It does seem to be more than just ordinary food. As you eat it, you feel this warm, tingling sensation wash over your entire body. You feel invigorated, and you can go ahead and reset yourself to full health. Yep, any of you who eat it. So you guys can go ahead and there are these large stumps around here if you want to have a seat. There's food. he's gonna start singing a song about crushing bones by sitting on them, and the fact that nobody could tell. There was this famous ogre who once had his entire cave covered with the skulls of his fallen enemies, and whenever he sat down, he would crunch them, and nobody could tell. And when someone asked him why he covered the floor of his cave in all of these bones, he said it was so that no one could tell whether he was just sitting down or farting. And so after telling that joke, the ogre just is slapping his knee and laughing uproariously at his own joke. So, okay. So unless there's any specific conversation that you guys want to have, we'll go ahead and fast forward to the sunset. Kawa. So people are good with fast forwarding to sunset then? All right. So you guys kind of head over, and the ogre says, all right, the rules are simple. If you can keep from being pushed out of the ring, or, and I don't expect this is at all likely to happen, but if you can push me out of the ring, then you win. No weapons, but aside from that, have at it, how you will. You there, bird creature, you're referee if you don't mind. Oh, okay. And so Tongue-Cut Sparrow kind of flies over. And so then Kawa and the ogre get in opposite sides of the ring, and Tongue-Cut Sparrow goes, Ich, ni, sa, go! And you guys, I don't know, he's going to do the whole sumo thing, drop into a low squat and slap his knee, and then he puts both of his hands palm out toward you and starts advancing. Kawa, what are you going to do? Okay, well, go ahead and roll strength for Kawa then, and we'll just say they push against each other and see what happens. I'm here. What do you need? Yeah, and I said go ahead and roll strength for her. Yeah, so go ahead and roll 1d6 plus your strength bonus. That's a d4. Wait, just tell me what her strength is. There we go. And okay, so she has a strength bonus of 4. Yeah, so she pushes like fruitlessly against one of his hands, and he kind of lets that happen for a minute, and then just kind of like scoops her up and tosses her out of the ring. And then he laughs to himself. Well, you tried, lassie. That's all that can be asked of you. All right, then. You there in the red armor. I suppose it's your turn next. That's you. That's you, Akai Hebi. All right, so same thing happens again. Tongue-Cut Sparrow goes, all right, ich, ni, san, go! And which, by the way, that's 1, 2, 3, and then just I'm using English go. I'm not saying go as in like 5 in Japanese. So 1, 2, 3, go is what Tongue-Cut Sparrow is doing. So then he does the same thing. He drops into a low squat, slaps one knee, and then puts both hands in front of him, palms out, and advances. Okay. So go ahead and roll your CMB. See if you can beat his CMD. Okay. Yeah, not even close. So you try to grab his leg, and you kind of like, you do grab his leg. He lets you, you slip under his hand, and you grab his leg, and he kind of like looks at you, and then he just kicks his leg, and you go flying out of the ring. He goes, ah! I expected slightly better from you than from a girl, but suppose that was too much to wish for. Alright then, you're the last chance to save this from being an incredibly boring event. You think you've got what it takes, Kuryo-kuma? Alright then! And he goes back to his spot. So then Tongue-Cut Sparrow goes, alright, ich, ni, san, go! And he does the exact same thing, advancing once again. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's exactly like that. So you plant yourself, and then I'm assuming the two of you start pushing against each other. All right. So your strength is absolutely nowhere near his. However, you have one advantage. You have magic shoes. That's right. You have magic fashion accessories on your feet. And so he pushes against you. And at first you can tell he's kind of like pushing gently, and you really honestly could hold against it. But then after a minute, and he sees that you're not moving, he starts pressing harder and harder. And it gets to the point where if you weren't wearing your boots, you would just be flying out of the ring. But he can't move you. And eventually, you know, it gets to the point where he braces one shoulder against you and starts like doing like a football push. But his feet are just sliding along the ring without making any progress, and you are perspiring wildly, doing your absolute best to put resistance against this. And you know that while your feet might not go anywhere, you could be broken in half, and so you still do put out a significant effort, keeping him from making any progress. But as the sun is slowly setting into the background, you see that he still hasn't made any progress. And finally, this last edge of the sun dips down below the horizon, and he gasps and kind of just like slides down to the ground, panting. And I would assume you do something fairly similar, because at this point you're spent. And he goes, "Oi! Okay." He goes, "Oh, hoy! A more worthy opponent I have never met in all my days. Oh, you have bested me fair and square, or at least brought it to a stalemate. You may pass. You have my blessing, and I won't eat you." Oi! I hope so too. Come by any time. I'll feed you and house you. I might even have some other fun games we could play. Does this mean what? Yes, you're free to go through my lands as you please. Aside from that, is there anything I can provide for you? It's not often that any humans have been able to get past me, and I feel as though I ought to give you something in return. Just ask for whatever it is, and if it's in my power to give it to you, I'll provide it. No questions asked. And so he chuckles, and he reaches into one of the skulls hanging from his tusks and pulls a long silver scroll out of its mouth. And he kind of like brushes some viscous brown fluid off of it, and with like what seems to be some slight embarrassment, and then hands it to you, still sticky and dripping. Okay, and he says, all right, the ingredients aren't too terribly hard to come by, but not as easy as they could be either. I hope it... No problem whatsoever. I'm glad to find a kindred spirit out there. All right, anything else I can provide you before I send you on your way? And also... so he kind of like looks at you, tilts his head, and goes, "No, I'm not too familiar with the dragons. Try to stay out of their business. It's not good for one to mess around in the business of his betters. I suppose you probably do want this back as well." And he reaches behind him, and he pulls out from what you can only imagine has been between his butt cheeks, is Kai Hebi's poor hunchback servant, who's just like trembling and quivering, and hands him to a Kai Hebi. I was saving him for later, but you know, he's part of your group. He's free from dinner. And the guy goes, and he's like, "Master, don't leave me alone again. I'll carry whatever you want." And he's just kind of like pawing at your robes. He's down on his knees. Yes, yes. Oh yes, Master, I'm so sorry. I should have thought before soiling your clothes. Please punish me however you feel necessary. Oh, thank you, Master. You were so kind. And he kind of like goes off and starts cleaning himself up. Anything else before you guys want to move on? Not really. I don't have much use for the toothpicks the likes of you carry around, he says as he kind of like hefts his enormous club, which, like I said, is as big as you are. And so he says, there might be something left in the river up a ways where I wash out my pots. You know, any splinters that were left of them after I cooked them up and ate them. Okay, so I'm assuming you guys go ahead and move forward now. And are you going to... No, it's not too far. It's just about a 15-minute trek further down into the valley. And you find the river, and it's mostly rusted, uninteresting. There's definitely armor and some swords there. There are a few pieces that are definitely of very high quality, but nothing near what you guys already carry. Your weaponry is not just like, oh, a blacksmith made this for me and I use it now. Your weaponry is already the result of years of adventuring, and all of you are carrying very powerful magical artifacts. Sure, yeah. If you want to throw together some like halfway decent quality armor and weapons to give to your various servants who carry your things, you could do that. Okay. Okay, so they're completely unfamiliar with the armor and weapons. They look a rather scraggly bunch with mismatched armor, rusted helmets that don't fit correctly, and swords that hang, limply at their sides. Clearly, they have no idea what they would do with any of it, but I mean, they have it now. Okay, everyone, roll me perception real quick. Oh, nice roll, Anna. Too bad your perception bonus is not great. Yeah, I'm not seeing it. What is your bonus, Wayne? Okay, so you got an 18. It's not great. You rolled a 1. Interesting. And then go ahead and roll for Rebecca if you wouldn't mind real quick. I don't know. Yeah, Kawa's perception bonus should be pretty high. All right. So, Rebecca, with the highest perception bonus, you do notice a slight blue gleam, mostly buried in the mud, just barely sticking out. Yes. Okay, so you kind of like scrape the mud up, or are you gonna tell one of your servants to scrape the mud up for you? Okay. You are you doing this surreptitiously or just like out in the open? Okay, cool. So you have found what appears to be a silver necklace that runs down into a pointed blue gem of some kind. It's a light blue. You're not sure exactly what kind it is, but it does seem to have some sort of magical energy radiating around it. Okay. So you guys do all of that, and then you head on. You will make one camp before you reach the head of the mountains from here. So if you'd like to do anything at camp, you don't know what it is. Yeah. Yeah, all you know at this point is that it is some sort of magical necklace. All right, so yeah, it's just a camp. There is no, I mean, yeah, the ogre kind of made sure there aren't a whole lot of people between here and the head of the mountains. So you guys, do you want to, is there anything you want to do at camp, or do you want to just pick up when you reach the head of the mountains? All right. So you guys make a camp. Nothing out of the ordinary happens there. And all right. So it's nothing super odd. Now you do start like puking in your mouth just a little bit when you notice that one of the ingredients is actually fresh spinach. And but it's actually nothing too terribly unusual. The only ingredient that seems terribly difficult to acquire is that one of the ingredients is the heart of an ice stag, which is a magical. It's an oni, not an oni. It is a kami. Which lives in the mountains, and it appears to be a fairly normal stag, except for the fact that it's antler, or not antler, or yeah, they are antlers. I was about to say, no, it's horns. No, they're antlers. Anyway, except for the fact that their antlers, it's glow blue and let off like a cold mist around them, and that is the reason they are called ice stags. Okay. It's almost like I played that game recently, and and I am an uncreative hack who just steals from everywhere. Hmm. All right, so you guys head out the next morning. Kiryokima, you are able to collect all of the ingredients except for spinach and the stag heart. As you are going, you kind of send out your bear to do a little bit of hunting. You have Bun Bun do a little scouting along with your own scouting to find the mushrooms and other ingredients, and so you're able to get most of it together for probably like a couple batches of soup. Oh, another thing. Are any of you going to try out your gifts from the River Dragon while you're in camp? Okay. So you, how do you use your pot? Are you just like throwing food in it, putting it on the fire? Yes, it seems to be giving off a light heat. Not enough to cook with. It doesn't feel like you can touch it and it doesn't burn you, but it is giving off heat. Okay. Okay, so as you do that, it seems to let off significantly more heat than it was before, and it cooks the food perfectly. You threw in like just crap food because you had no idea what was going to happen, and even though you threw in the absolute worst ingredients that were available in camp, what comes out ends up smelling and tasting like heaven. And the wood never catches on fire. The bottom of the pot actually never even gets too hot to touch. But the food cooks up, and it cooks up perfectly. Okay. You do that thing. Or just ask. They are friends. You just have to ask before Kuryokuma eats it all. You know, you can make... I will point out you can probably make more. All right. So once the new food cooks up, yeah, it's still just as delicious and amazing as before. Okay. Let me go ahead and eat. I mean, that's a thing you could try. Okay, here you guys are at camp. Okay. Okay, you end up with hot water. It is nice and clear and clean water. The rocks, I mean, they're in the water. Okay, now it turns into delicious soup. Yes, it is. The rocks are still sitting in the bottom of the soup. Indeed. Is anyone else going to try out their things? So you just like stand up and have them wrap you in it like a cocoon? Is that your plan? It is about 10 inches wide and about 4 feet tall. And it is, I don't know, 4 to 6 inches thick. Definitely. Yeah, no, there's plenty. Okay. You unroll it, and you see that even after you've unrolled it, it isn't any thinner than it was before. Yes. You're just gonna keep unrolling it, just like around camp. Him. Okay. So yeah, she is wrapped in. I mean, as long as she keeps turning, which eventually she'll be unable to do because there will be just too much silk. But as long as she keeps turning, silk keeps coming off the spool. Okay. As you spin it back onto the spool, it does the same but in reverse. So it's not ending up as like a super thick, awkward bundle. It's just exactly like it was before. Okay. Indeed. Nope, nothing out of the ordinary. It seems. I mean, the color keeps shifting. So you noticed as you were unrolling it, about every 12 feet or so, it changes color and pattern. So, and as she kept spinning, it kept changing and changing, and it never seemed to repeat, but it was always just as beautiful. And when you cut off the 2 feet, it's now there's 2 feet less on the spool, but it's like still the same size as always. I mean, that's accurate. She did say nothing as part of the rest of the sentence. Right. All right. Yeah, it is very soft. Are you taking your armor off when you sleep? Okay, so yeah, it is very soft and comfortable. Almost too soft. You find yourself kind of like sliding around in the night. Okay, anyone else? I wouldn't put it past him. Not as weird as Kuro. So, anything else? Yep. Okay, anyone else before we move on? All right, then. And we will go ahead and move on. So you travel a couple more days toward the mountains, and eventually you do find exactly where it was described by Kukuru, a huge bronze horn that wraps around several times, and it goes from about an inch in diameter to somewhere around 30 feet in diameter by the end. And what do you do? Okay, you are now standing approached to the horn. You're much closer than you were before. Your lips are pursed, and you are standing approached to the horn. They singe your lips, and you are forever burnt to death. Nope, you're fine. Your lips are on the horn. It's like slightly slimy and dirty because it's just sitting out in the open, but it doesn't seem like it's planning on turning into like a giant snake monster and eating you. Okay, it's less than impressive. All right, so it lets out this long, low note that reverberates through the valleys, sending echoes back and forth, and you can see it echoing off down the valleys for, well, you can't see it, you hear it echoing off down the valleys for several minutes, and then everything becomes deathly silent. And just when you're about to wonder whether or not something has even happened, you hear and feel a rumbling all around you, and you see several of the mountain peaks in front of you start to lift up out of the ground, boulders crashing around and trees being uprooted, and so there, a dragon uproots itself and looks down and spots you, and you suddenly hear it, this loud, echoing, deep voice that I can in no way replicate because I am a reedy sounding nerd. And it says, "Voro Mindiroth." Voro Mindiroth. Can you just... Yeah, Voro Mindiroth. Only if you want to wrap up now. I was planning on going a little bit further. Yep, and it's only been an hour. More than a few minutes late, but yes, we did get started late. Yep, we did pretty good today. It wasn't like an hour and a half like last time. So, Tongue Cut Sparrow speaks up and goes, "Oh, well, this is a very specialized dialect of dragon. Only the very oldest even speak it. I'm afraid old Crumbly there probably only speaks it, but I could help out if you need." I do indeed. Yes, he's asking us who awakens him from his slumber. Byakuren. Yeah, but I mean, we were pretty close. So Akai Hebi of the Byakuren clan. Okay. Volman Akai Hebi Byakuren Boramidir. And the dragon answers back, Marandir Mafandor. Anyway, we'll skip any more dragon from here and we'll just translate because I'm just making this up anyway. Yeah, he says, what do you want? And why should he listen? Amaterasu stole my heart, dang it, give it back! Okay, Amaterasu is a wolf. Not a fox, but yeah. Okay, so anyway, so he says, all right. Yeah. So Tonkat Sparrow tells the dragon that, and so the dragon, so then the dragon speaks back, and Tonkat Sparrow says, okay, he says that he would be more than happy to give you your heart back, but in return, before he gives your heart back, you must go down to his haunches, where there is something that has been causing him irritation recently. Whatever it is, he desires that you wipe it out with extreme vengeance and return to him successful, at which point he will give you what you desire. It means his butt. I mean, it's not just his, it's haunches is like that whole region. It's thigh, glute, that whole region. Okay, so Tonkat Sparrow says that you've agreed to it, and so the dragon says, very good, and then sinks back down, and yeah, things are quiet again. Haunches are funny to you? Yep. All right, so yeah, his haunches looking, you saw as he was rising up. You think that's probably about a half day's journey. You could get there a little after sunset if you wanted to push through. All right. So you'd go. It's about a half day's journey, like I said. You arrive as it's getting dark, and you're not even going to need a perception check for this. You can see what appears to be smoke and the glow from a fire through the woods in front of you. Okay, let me go ahead. Put your characters in here. Yes. All right. So you guys have arrived at your goal. Yeah, there you are. You're in the map. Go ahead and do what you want. You can see, I hope. I haven't completely ruined. Is it just blackness? I've broken. Okay. Fog of War is set all weird again. Let me turn it off. Alright, can you see now? Alright. That should be. Those are trees. I did say you saw them. I did say you saw the fire through the forest, so. Yeah, so. All right, so you Anna, are you actually doing that? Because they are going to see you if you're just like clomping around right in their camp. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So you guys can see pretty easily through the forest a bunch of oni, which are evil spirits. They're like goblins, except bigger. They're like orcs. They're like Japan orcs, I guess. So I will say, you are pretty sure these are not anywhere near as dangerous as the ogre who kicked your asses earlier. Because I'm guessing that's what you're worried about. so just okay. For clarity, the ogre that you fought earlier was a CR 20. Yeah, you were not going to be able to beat him in an open fight. Alright, so Kawa, you're in full ninja mode. Alright, go ahead and roll stealth for me. And we'll just have you do one roll, and kind of that will dictate how successful you're going to be sneaking around. I will point out, you do actually have a ring of invisibility. At least I'm pretty sure I gave you that. I either thought about it or did. One or the other. Alright, so you turn invisible. Do you do so in front of your friends, or do you, like, go behind a tree and pretend you're just, like, ultimate ninja style? Okay, so Kuryokuma, Akaihebi, you do not notice Kawa actually turning invisible. Go ahead and you're auto-succeeding. Between your stealth bonus and the +20 from being invisible and it being dark and these people not actually looking for you, yeah, you can walk into their camp if you want to. Unless you start banging on things, you're safe. So go ahead and you can actually physically move your character around and take a look-see at what there is to see. You can use the right click and then use that to drag around the map. Probably the easiest way to scroll around. Yeah. So, Kawa, you are in their camp. You can see a number of different Oni. There appear to be... There are 7 that you can see out and about. And you actually also notice that over here in this cage, where I have put you, there is a girl in the cage, kind of sitting on the ground, quietly crying to herself. She seems very tired. You imagine she was probably putting up a lot more. She was probably yelling and weeping openly earlier, but at this point, she's just like at that point where she's so exhausted, she's just kind of quietly, I don't know, sobbing. If you get a successful stealth attack, you have a very high chance of killing him in one shot. Okay. That is her sword. I mean, it hits people and gives them damage. Are you asking what each of those effects do? Okay. Yes, the keen doubles the critical hit threat range. The corrosive is extra damage. The ghost touch means that it can damage incorporeal creatures. You should as a ninja. You should have a little checkbox to check sneak attack, and then that should add the damage on what's listed. Go ahead and roll again and see if you confirm that critical miss. I don't think you will unless you roll another one. Yeah, so you do not critically miss. Do you slip your ring off, or do you just, like, try to stab him? Okay. I mean, you can just leave it on and stab him. Okay, so you miss. So you're still invisible, but you didn't hit him. Go ahead and roll stealth, and if you get a pretty good roll, I'll say that he didn't notice you, like, whiffing. Like, you take your kusarigama and you're about to chop his head off, and then he sneezes, and it whiffs over his head, and he doesn't even notice. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. So you can try again now. He's just kind of like stood back up and he's like rubbing underneath his nose and hasn't even noticed that you're there. Yeah, it's a reset. You're not in combat, so this is just exactly like if it was your first attack. Oh yeah, that hits. So you take your Kusarigama, and this time, not wanting to brook any chance of failure, you grab him by one of his horns, and then before he can start to like make any noise, you take your Kusarigama, the side of it, and just slice his throat open, and he sinks to the ground silently. No, with that, we're gonna just, we'll keep the stealth roll from last time. You're not invisible anymore. So keep, well, no, because when you attack, invisibility ends. You're not invisible, but you have a high enough bonus to your stealth that they didn't notice. Yeah. Yep, you can go ahead and just do whatever you want. Okay, so you're going to move over there. Now this guy, if you attack him, they will, unless you roll just like unbelievably high on your next stealth, they will notice you attacking this guy. Okay. Let me go ahead and yep. No, if you're not worried about being sneaky, like with the attack, if you're fine, just like the attack happens and they notice, then you can just roll attack. Okay. Maybe. Go ahead and roll your attack while I look up their perception real quick. Okay, yeah, they're not going to see you. Yeah. Yeah, he's dead. So you come up to that guy, you hook, you take your Kusarigama, and you've got the scythe end by the chain, and you kind of like whip it out so that the scythe buries itself directly in the top of his head, and then as his face just goes blank, you yank on it and whip him right back behind the house where you are currently, and you hide his body in the shadows. Okay, so go ahead and roll stealth again. Okay, so they're not going, they will see you after you attack here, but they're not going to see you before, so you can go ahead and you can get one more stealth attack in. All right, yep, that'll hit. All right, so you... Oh, sorry. I'm getting all ahead of myself. I'm pretty sure that still hits. Yep. So you take your the ball end of your Kusarigama and you whip it around, knocking this guy in the back of the head, braining him and knocking him into the fire. And you're pretty sure he's dead. Yeah, everybody sees you. So on that happening, these other two go, "Oh, what was that? Larry! Somebody killed Larry!" And they immediately see you and grab these wicked barbed blades that were sitting right next to them, and they start raising the alarm. So everybody's aware. Okay, so everyone can roll initiative now. Oh well, I'm pretty sure the Oni are going last. All right, so it looks like I can't imagine that your dex is higher than Rebecca's, Wayne. So I'm pretty sure she'll be going first. All right. So then, Kawa, it is actually still your turn. Though, if you were to click on Steam on purpose, it would be because that is the best place to buy games on PC. Please send me free games, Steam! All right. Both of those are a hit. Yes, please. Now he hasn't acted, so he is still technically flat-footed. So you are getting your sneak attack still. Okay, is that both attacks or just one? Okay, he is super dead. So he's yelling and he's just like, ah, someone killed Larry. There, you, I'm gonna get you. And he picks up his sword, and you just kind of like, you do this little spin over next to him, and then do you want to say something quippy before you disembowel him? I can hear you. Okay, so you just flip over by him, and then you take your Kusarigama, and as you were spinning past, you whip his feet out from under him, and then you take the scythe and you almost bifurcate him from navel to neck, and red hot oni blood comes squirting out everywhere as he gasps out his last breaths. All right, Akai Heavy. Kawa killing another one. Now, I will point out, Akai Heavy, you are largely ranged, so you probably actually, like, your sword is fine, but it's not great. Your bow is awesome. So when you can, yeah, your bow is much more boss than your sword. And your bow has like 100-foot range increment, so everything on this map is within its range increment. So if you have line of sight, you can hit it. Or, you can shoot it within the first range increment. Unless you want to use your golden arrows, at which point it literally is, if you can see it, you will hit it. Oh, don't worry, we all have poopies sometime. It's just a matter of nature. No reason to be ashamed of it. All right, would you like to talk about killing things? The lower one or the higher one? Hold down. Click and hold on one of them. Ta-da! The one that Anna indicated? Okay, yeah, but if you click and, yeah, I can, yeah, so that's how you indicate. Okay, cool. You are killing the more northerly one, or southerly one, sorry. That is a hit. That's probably a crit with that weapon, isn't it? Well, just assume it is, and okay. Well, we'll just say it is, so go ahead and roll it as if it were a crit. Yep. Probably, but I would just roll it and we can probably do the math in our heads. I'm guessing that it's going to be, yeah, he's dead, and that's all the math I need to do. You can roll all the dice at once. Okay, wait, just read to me what the damage on your weapon is. Okay. Okay. Uh, that actually, well, I guess that's probably about right. Okay. So that's going to be 30, 38. It's actually not dead, believe it or not. Yeah. Thought your bow did more damage than that. Yeah, and that's going to be multiplied by 3 as well, so that's actually 6 more d6s of fire. Yeah, now he's dead. Alright, so... Yep. Okay, yep, that'll hit. Yeah, no. An 18 is not going to be a crit. That will hit. It is not a crit. Okay, go ahead and roll damage. Damage. Hey, you guys really need to get these macros set up. It's the wrong slash, Wayne. Hey, 14 damage. Hey, that is a hit. All right. No kidding. What? Okay. Alright, so the Oni has been hit, but is not really all that hurt. Kuyokuma, it is your turn. That's a hit. Yeah, all of those are hits. Where's the... Oh, I see. Wait, which of those were attacks? Oh, you rolled them all at once? Oh, got it. Got it. Okay, yeah, I see now what you did. Yeah, so all of those are hits, and yeah, he is super dead. All right, so yeah, it's a bunch of dead Onis all around you. Okay, you try to do that. This Oni that was hiding in the woods jumps out, and he's going to try and sneak attack you. Yes, because you were actually walking toward there, so you would have gotten to like there. That's why I keep telling you guys, don't just like jump 80 feet across the board. And then he was actually, if you look over here, there was a lake. He was hiding over here by the lake. Well, not hiding. That's where he was hanging out. You were walking along, and he's going to jump out and attack you. All right. Yeah, just explaining what happened. You are flat-footed. So what is your flat-footed AC? Okay, well, he got a crit anyway, probably. Let's see if he can confirm the crit. Oh, wow, double crit. Will 15 hit your flat-footed AC? Okay, so just a single crit. So he is going to do... Let's see. Going to do 21 points of damage. So he jumps out of the tree and he takes this knife that he's carrying and just like digs it into the joint between your helmet and your shoulder blade, or the pauldrons on your armor, the shoulder armor, and just digs it into there. And that is his whole turn. No, now it is Kawa's turn. You're not gonna save your boyfriend who's being stabbed by an Oni? Oh, he'll learn to love you eventually. Yeah, and you have enough movement speed to get up there easily. Yes, those are both hits. Okay. So yeah, you run over, and do you say anything as you run over, or are you just silent? Almost certainly. Akai Hebi is mine. Only I get to stab him to death. Okay. Yeah. So you run over and you grab the thing and just throw it off, slamming it into the ground. I told you. And so then you throw it onto the ground, and how do you want to finish it off? I'll leave that up to you, Rebecca. Okay, so you stab it repeatedly in its private area until it like stops screaming. Dun dun dun. Now just, lean toward the side of less language when possible. That's all I was saying. All right, so, yep, now we're out of combat. So you are bleeding from the neck area and are covered in blood from a rather unfortunate part of a demon. Akai Hebi. Safe. What do you mean by safe? No, nothing attacks you. No, I told you we're out of combat. All right, so you come over. So I will point out, she's not like a little girl. She's like, somewhere between 16 and 22. She's actually rather well endowed. But yeah, so you see a young woman wearing kind of fairly fancy clothing. It's definitely not armor, so she doesn't seem to be a warrior. Kind of off to the side, away from the cage, you see a bag, and you see the end of a lute sticking out of it. And, well, whatever the Japanese equivalent of a lute is. A kamisen? I don't know. That's probably not correct at all. But yeah, so there's a stringed musical instrument sticking out of the bag, which seems to have been rifled through by the Oni. And so she is a young woman with long, well, it's not super long, but fairly long white hair. It hangs down past her shoulder blades in white waves. She is wearing a pair of large red glasses. One of the not frames, the lenses is cracked and largely broken, but the other one seems to be more or less intact. And she looks up at you, blinking away tears, and she says, "To be continued! Ba ba ba!" No, not really. All right, so why don't we do our little wrap up? Let's start with Kawa. What did you learn? Do you want us to come back to you? Okay. Kuryo-kuma, what did you learn? Yeah, and sometimes... Yeah, yeah. But yeah, when something is that big and just guarding a gate in the middle of nowhere, you might want to not just run up with your weapon drawn and immediately try to kill it. Akai Hebi, what did you learn? Yeah, that's a good lesson. Definitely keep your eyes open. In fact, there were going to be a few more Oni that were going to be hiding in like that tent up to the upper right and the other stone buildings around here. But since we were kind of getting toward the end of our time, I decided to cut it short and not include any extras. But yeah, this combat was definitely meant to be a little bit more of y'all kind of just curb stomping some grunts. Um, Partially just to in all fairness, the CR20 ogre was kind of a jerk move, so this was just a little bit of a palate cleanser to get you some of your confidence back. So Kawa. That she has a ring that makes her invisible that she forgot about? Okay. That sounds good. If we were doing XP in this game, I would give you guys bonuses, but we're not. So I think that's everything. Unless anyone has something else that they want to discuss before we wrap up. Okay, well, thank you guys for joining me for this session, and good night, everybody. I'll see you next time. Bye.